Hey, I'm Steve Chamberlain, Chamberlain5150 on Instagram, owner of Screamin' Speed and Fab, which makes the side covers on his bike. And then, I work at a Forever Rad shop in St. Louis. So, we got my 84 FXR here right now. We've been having fun with it since June. We got it done. We went out to Born Free, California. We won Best Performance FXR out there. We came out to Sturgis, ripping around. We got Best FXR at the FXR show with 140 different FXRs. We were out at the Baker Drags last night doing some drag racing. Did like an 8.060 in the 8th mile. Did some running back. So, yeah, we got a Milwaukee 8, 120 cubic inch. It's the Gen 2 up in here. This is like a Steve size FXR. We just got everything a little stretched and skewed, and 49 mil mid glide front end, 2 inches back in the rear with the extended 03 bagger swing arm, some 16-inch shocks, custom exhaust, mid controls, the seat, Dyna gas tank. Like, that's kind of the gist of this bike. But you get really up and close, and all the wiring's tucked away, all the hydraulic lines ran up in the handlebars. I got a digital COSO gauge that's like mounted up into like a little headlight nacelle, so you have all the turn signals and high beam lights. So I wanted this bike to be like a really stripped down rider, but still have all kind of the little things that you need. Like there's little turn signals back here. I got turn signals up here and all that. So, so last year we built for Born Free Texas. We built our buddy this Ripper Dyna that was a really stripped down Dyna. We did a standalone Thundermax ECM 1918 on it. I had a skull on the rear fender. It was like a skateboard inspired bike. So this bike I really wanted to build because like I wanted to do a stripped down naked version of a Harley. So I was like, I ended up finding this frame, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do one that's bare bones, because anybody that knows me, I've been doing the performance bagger stuff since about 2018. Coming out to Sturgis, we had inverted front ends on our baggers. So I've been known as a big bagger guy, so I wanted to get something that's a little bit more nimble and everything. So yeah, kind of the inspiration was just, I wanted to do something a little different in my own little mind. So this is what we came up with. There's a lot of off the wall stuff. Normally when you put an M8 and FXR, you got to cut the frame all out. So I built these custom stainless rocker boxes. Those are like 14 different pieces, all hand TIG welded. And then we just did like a little velocity stack from Speed Dealer. Kind of have like the little hot rod vibes of a motor. A big primary 2-in-1 pipe, the mid controls that are mounted up off the motor. So like the whole frame tube all the way through is just clean, and everything just being clean and classy is kind of about this bike. So man, I love the cockpit to it. So we did the Behringer hand controls. These buttons are Renard Speed Shop out of Estonia. I found these buttons like 3 years ago. So doing that, and then we internally wired the brake line and the clutch line, and then seeing the gauge. So I'll turn that on for you. So like when I'm sitting in the bike, you have your speedo, and then my fuel and all that, all just cleanly up there. You do the turn signals and those all work, and you see all that. So just sitting in the cockpit, and then between that and the DX tank that's got like old school fighter gas cap, that's got to be my favorite part of this. So I bought this bike. It had the gas tank. It was a frame, and it came with like a stock rear fender. I bought it January 9 of this year. And then I had a goal of having it done by Born Free, California, which was end of June. So we bought it January 9. Our first ride on it was on June 11th. So 5 months, 2 days, we brought this thing from nothing to where it is. It's kind of with the whole performance bagger thing. So I've been on a 2018 Road Glide, since 2018. I've kind of just been a Milwaukee 8 guy. So this frame, when I bought it, it was actually ready for a twin cam to bolt in it. Like somebody already did all the work. And then I looked at it, and I had these cases out of my Road Glide, and I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna throw those up in the FXR because it's gonna be a little bit more of a challenge for me. So I just did the Milwaukee 8 because it's kind of what I did. And I ended up wanting to do the Gen 2 Milwaukee 8. So this is the 2024 and up. like the same one that's in your Road Glide. So it does.
35, man.
Yeah, well, just that generation. So that body style is that. So this one's 120 cubic inch forged pistons, but it's just stock throttle body and that. I'm gonna guess it's around 130 horse. So yeah, she's a good runner, 6-speed. We got the Sproder in the rear, and yeah, she runs down the road really good. Man, people always have that every time you finally get done with a really good project and you put your heart and soul in it. They're like, all right, what's next? And I think for this one, I'm just going to enjoy this one for a minute, kind of regroup. We're in Sturgis, so we're kind of getting to the end of the season, but I know there's going to be a bunch of more builds down the pipeline between me and Forever Rad, coming up by this winter time. So yeah, we're, I don't know what the next thing is. Yeah, I get that a lot. So I did everything on this bike besides the paint, the polish, and the powder coat. Like I built the motor, I built the transmission, wiring, all that stuff. Sometimes you just got to start, like you're going to fail. There's things that I failed on this. I ended up first trying to put the voltage regulator underneath the seat to keep it super clean. After I burned up 3 voltage regulators, I had to pivot and I put the voltage regulator up front to do that. So like I'm not always perfect with other things. And then we had some motor trouble, so I ended up having a head gasket leak. I had the motor out of this last week Thursday. Like it's Thursday right now. Like 1 week ago I was working on the motor, and I've already been out in Sturgis for 4 days. So sometimes you just got to do it, try. You're gonna fail, you're gonna have good things, but yeah, start somewhere. I've been working on mechanical stuff. I remember when I was like 4 years old, when I was 15 years old, I bought like my first truck. That was a project truck. 18 years old, I had a V-Rod that I ended up supercharging. So it's years and years of dedication of doing this stuff that you ended up learning your craft, of building something cool and building something fun. So yeah. Like the paint and that, like I wanted to do this bike silver. I wanted to do everything like super clean and understated. And then I knew I was going to do gold fork tubes. And then so what I ended up doing with that, I was like, well, let's do a little bit of gold leafing throughout the bike. So we just got a nice like gold leaf pinstripe, super simple. And then the 5150. So the Instagram name's always been S Chamberlain 5150. And 5150 is a little cop term for crazy. So I never really put my name on any of my stuff, but I figured this bike was just crazy enough that it deserved a little 5150 on the tank. So yeah. Yeah, so like with this, on this bike, so we ended up doing a Kraus Dyna front tree. So it's a 49 mil mid-glide front tree, but it has about the same geometry as an FXR. And then we did a 21-inch touring wheel, so that brought the front end out a little bit. The mid controls are motor-mounted mids, but then from this half back, like we have a custom seat because we moved the rear fender back 1.75 inches, and then we extended the swing arm about 2 inches, and then you can kind of see how long it is right here. So I can sit back on it a little bit. And then it ended up being about a 14.5-inch T-bar. So just trying to find your rider geometry with it. Like I didn't have off the part shelves to do a seat. Like I had to do a 100% custom seat, find somebody to make it. The handlebars, I ended up custom making those so I could see my gauge up through it, So the biggest thing I say to people is just get comfy with it. If you have a bike, that's one thing. It's like with a Dyna, I've always had such a pullback on the handlebars that I've never really enjoyed it. So like when I got to build a bike for myself, I got to set it up. So it was the geometry that fit me. So yeah, if you can ride on different bikes, just get them set up for yourself. Yeah. So we ended up doing the Baker drags last night. So yeah, I had the motor out of this thing last week, and we've been messing around with the tune, and then I haven't taken on the drag strip, but when you have 16-inch tall rear shocks that are made for the twisties, it's not really a great track setup. So I was launching like real easy, but no, it was running out real good down the track, consistent once I got it, and I could keep the front end down. Like we were having fun out there. So the bike seems very versatile. We've been ripping down Spearfish Canyon, ended up taking out to the track, in town. you know, it's been good because like I have no oil cooler up front. My oil cooler for this thing is actually underneath the seat, but it still keeps pretty cool in traffic. So yeah, so it's got an oil cooler and fan setup underneath there. The ThunderMax ECM's underneath the seat. We got a Moto Gadget M unit, mini lithium battery, like everything is just kind of messed around underneath there, but you never see any of that stuff. So yeah, the S Chamberlain 5150 on pretty much anything. I used to do YouTube. I haven't really uploaded in a couple years. S Chamberlain 5150 on TikTok, Instagram, business, Screaming Speed and Fab, and then I work out of Forever Rad Shop, so forever_rad_. You know, between those, all those accounts, we're always posting and building cool things. You know, this is my 1984 FXR build. Got it out here, Sturgis 2026. We're out of here.